What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Iron Maiden. We're going back to the 1986 album Somewhere in Time. I mentioned it before as I've gone through most of the tunes on this album now, I think. It really is one of my favorite Maiden albums. Sort of The Number of the Beast will always be a special album to me because it was sort of my point of reconnection and my first real, I'm going to sit down and properly listen to this tune or to this group's catalog. So that one will always be special. A lot of the ones, basically all the ones in the 80s I like a great deal. But yeah, I don't know, Somewhere in Time, it really is a favored album of mine among their catalog. We're going to listen to Heaven Can Wait. The title is a straightforward indication of the sort of sentiment of the song, which is to say, he's not ready to die yet. And he's saying, he's not opposed to dying in principle. He'll do it when his time truly has come, but he doesn't think it's come, or it should be coming yet, because he's got more to do. There's plenty more to take care of. And what I enjoy about the song is there's a sort of a lack of clarity on his part. Is he already in heaven? Is he in hell? Is he actually just in limbo? And while he's trying to figure this out, there's the sort of the disorienting experience of it all cognitively. He's also questioning, wow, I seem to see a lot of people before me, meaning, maybe other people more deserving to die, or maybe other people in the same condition like him, where they don't actually feel like it's their time yet, and to them it's very confusing, as my cat tries to pull everything down. And also as she brings a chess piece into the room. Honestly, I have a chessboard out in the main room, and every once in a while I'll just find a bishop in the kitchen, a rook in the bathroom. She just takes pieces and puts them all over the house. So apparently there's a knight over there. Nevertheless, so there's this element or this layer to the lyrics and the themes where it seems like there's a number of other people in this disorienting, not quite sure where they are, where they're going, or whether it's truly, their time is up. So I enjoy the lack of clarity of the, sort of perception of the narrator. And there's also this, he's willing to sort of, go wherever it may be the case. It feels like whether it's heaven or hell, it's not so much about the final destination, just that he doesn't think it's his time yet. And also there's a desire to get back to Earth. So it feels like in some of the lines, there's maybe an indication that, he is sort of, he has begun the part of, or the process of departing in that way. But he strains, he yearns to get back to Earth to finish what he wants to finish. So it's a song about morality, or not morality, it's a song about mortality, and it's a song about sort of feeling that things are left undone when time comes for you, which I imagine for most people there's always going to be some of that, right? There's very few people, surely, who finish everything, take care of everything, every obligation, every responsibility, every ambition, every goal, every hobby, every pursuit, everything put into its proper place, and now I can die comfortably. So I imagine it's a feeling that most people have, facing the end, whether that's a more gradual end, especially perhaps if that's the case, or even if it's a more sudden end, the idea of wait, I had more to do, how can this be the time? It's someone, I think, trying to grasp at the essence of their mortality and what that means, and would we recognize, would we know if we've already begun the process of dying when we feel still capable of processing and thinking. So it's a really interesting song, once again, as I do all reactions, but especially Maiden, where my history of listening to them is not as long as, say, the Subhumans or Bad Religion, a lot of the punk bands I listen to. My lyrical interpretations are much more sort of speculative and subjective. So if you got a different take on this one, do let me know. But let's get to it because it's a long song. I think it's over 7 minutes. This is Iron Maiden. The tune is Heaven Can Wait, and it's from the 1986 album Somewhere in Time. guitar solos like Maiden guitar solos. Tempo shift, like atmosphere shift. I mean, the song is such a journey, like. I love it. On this album are great. Tunes feel like these epic, sort of multi-stage journeys. You know, Rime of the Ancient Mariner perhaps being the greatest example of that. But seriously, this is another one where it goes through different sections, different tempos, different sort of, sonic atmospheres. Obviously, it's a rockin' tune, pretty much from beginning to end, but there's some different ways that comes across, some different flavors of the sort of, like the aural atmosphere. So really love this song, more than I remembered in the moment, more epic than I remembered. And yeah, like I said, I enjoy that sort of, speculation about human morality, I keep saying it, mortality, put a T in there, you asshole. Nevertheless, I enjoy the idea of, those sort of moments where a human brain has to contemplate its ceasing to exist. The sort of idea of like, well, what do you think in the moment where maybe you've begun to die, or at least you recognize that death is not too far away? And for different people, and with different beliefs or different worldviews, the answers to that question will be different. But it's a situation and a mental state in which I think everyone has to address. So I enjoy hearing different manifestations of what people would think in that moment. Whether it's just for an artistic, creative purpose, or whether someone actually is sort of writing something in the face of their own demise. It's a sort of like it's a somber sort of subgenre, if you will. But I think it's a very sort of profound place where ideas that are very human, both in an emotional sense and in a cognitive sense, can be found. So, again, love Maiden's work during this period. I mean, there's not a single Maiden album that I don't enjoy, but I do know the ones from the 80s better, because when I started my personal deep dive on Iron Maiden, which is to say a few years before I began doing reaction videos, I started with the 80s albums, so I've continued to go through the catalog leading up into the present day with Senjutsu, but I've certainly heard the stuff from the 80s way more, in terms of numbers of plays, than I have more recent stuff. So yeah, bottom line, I love this album. I love 80s Iron Maiden more generally. But this tune, which, if I go to think of this album, I think of like Alexander the Great. I think of essentially the title tune, Caught Somewhere in Time. This tune maybe I don't think of right away, but it's a shame, because I think it's on a similar level. I think it's a really fantastic track. So let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.